Hello YouTubers, coming up on Yasmin's cooking show. Today it's all about chicken. For the next few episodes we're going to focus on poultry. And today I'm going to teach you how to cut up a whole bird. Then we'll talk about how to store poultry properly to number one, prevent foodborne illness, and number two, to prevent spoilage. And then we'll wrap up this segment with pan frying chicken. And I'm talking about buttermilk and iron skillet and all. Okay, now following our time in the kitchen today, we'll transition over to our nutrition segment to talk about iron and vitamin K, their functions in the body, why we need them, as well as their food sources. If you are anemic or if you know someone who's anemic, this is the episode for you. Our culinary terms today are foodborne illness and brining. Foodborne illness and brining. And finally, in segment number 3, a moment in food history. We are going to talk about the history of fried chicken. A lot of stuff might surprise you. I'm Yasmin. Welcome to my channel. Let's get started. Poultry is the collective term used to describe domesticated birds bred for eating. The USDA, which stands for the United States Department of Agriculture, recognizes 6 different kinds of poultry: chicken, duck, goose, guinea, pigeon, and turkey. Chicken, known in French as poulet, which is spelled P-O-U-L-E-T, pronounced poulet, is the most popular eaten poultry in the world. And as we all know, chicken has both white and dark meat, and it also has less fat compared to duck and goose. Now, the top 5 countries that eat the most chicken are America, Australia, Argentina, the AAAs, Israel, and the UK. Now, in America alone, 8 billion chickens are consumed per year. Now, I gotta tell you, in the summer of 2015, I was an intern for the USDA in North Carolina at a chicken plant. And I have never seen that many chickens in my life. And I also had the chance to see how hot dogs are made. And I'll be honest, I stopped eating them for a while. There is nothing like a New York hot dog. Okay. Now, here's what you may not know. Per person, Americans eat about 90 pounds of chicken per year. Are you surprised? We love chicken. So why is chicken so popular around the world? Especially here in America, we eat chicken more than any other nationality. Well, that's because chicken is delightfully delicious and so easy to make. We can fry it, grill it, boil it, stew it, poach it, saute it, roast it. I mean, there are so many different kinds of cooking methods when it comes to chicken, okay? And today we're gonna start our series on chicken with the most popular cooking method, okay? Pan frying. We're gonna learn how to properly pan fry Southern style, okay? So that means you are going to need one of these, okay? a cast iron skillet. You are not a serious cook if you don't have one of these in your kitchen. And also, this is actually cooking with this is really good for you because it's a cast iron skillet. Now, be sure to watch my segment on nutrition because I'm going to talk about iron in that segment, okay? All right, but first, we have to talk about purchasing and storing poultry properly. So let's go. Chicken can be purchased in many different forms: fresh or frozen, whole or cut up, bone-in or boneless, or ground. Now, although buying cut up chicken, which is what most of us do, is convenient and easy, it's actually more expensive because we are paying for labor. But today I'm going to teach you how to cut up a whole chicken. That way you can get more for your money. Let's talk about storing poultry. When it comes to chicken, I want you to think about the bacteria called salmonella. An outbreak in salmonella is the most frequently reported foodborne illnesses in America today. A foodborne illness is a disease caused by a contaminated food or drink. Okay, so it is important for us to know how to properly store food. Now, poultry is highly perishable, so that means when you come home from the grocery store, do not leave the chicken sitting out on the counter. That is breeding ground for bacteria. Now, I'm going to talk more about that to my Haitian audience in the next slide, okay? Now, fresh chickens can be stored up in the fridge for up to 2 days, okay? For larger birds like a turkey, up to 4, under 32 degrees Fahrenheit. And the best way to ensure that your poultry is within the safety zone is with a fridge thermometer. These are very inexpensive. You can get these from Amazon under $4. I got mine, this one, from at the Restaurant Depot in Virginia Beach. So this is a really good investment, just to make sure that your food in the fridge stays within the safety zone of 32 degrees, okay? Let's talk about how to properly thaw out chicken. There are actually 2 different methods. La nou retire pou nan freezer ya, mais ki sa pou nou fè, messieurs dames, okay? In the freezer, chicken can stay fresh for up to 6 months. Nan freezer ya, pou la ka rete fri pendant 6 mois. Mais len prêt pour nou dégeler, bay pou la 2 jusqu'à 4 jours dans frigidaire, giving it enough time to gradually thaw out. Okay, putting chicken in the microwave, frozen chicken in the microwave, or sitting on the counter is very, very dangerous. Pas jamais mette poule chita sous comptoir ou bien dans micro-ondes là. Ça c'est très, très, très dangereux. Là nous fait ça, nous bay microbe chance pour yo multiplier. Ok, yon l'autre option, dégeler poule là en bas de l'eau cap couler. All right. Now, one last tip on storing poultry properly. Toujours mettez viande pour le poisson en bas étagère et fruits en bas étagère légumes. Pas jamais mettre en haut parce que jus ka couler ou pas jamais comme ça. OK? Donc ça c'est ça m'a bas aujourd'hui, OK? So, let's go ahead and cut up a whole bird. Cutting up a whole chicken is all about knowing where the joints are and where the fat lines are. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. And once you have that skill, cutting up a bird becomes second nature and no longer intimidating. You will need a cutting board, a boning knife, a steel, chicken scissors, and a scrap bowl. Also, have some paper towels and a sanitary bucket nearby to keep your area clean. And guess what? Mastering this skill will save you money because buying a whole chicken at the grocery store is less expensive than a pre-cut package. This Purdue chicken was under $4.50. On commence. I like to take the wings off first. To do that, flip the bird on its breast. Pull the wing and look for the armpit. Feel the joint and make your cut, cutting slightly towards you and away from the breast. Now, I personally cut the wings in two for presentation, and I use the tip for chicken stock, so they're gonna go right in my stock pot. And then we'll just repeat that on the other side. Next, flip the chicken on its back and let's take off the legs. There's a visible fat line in between the white and dark meat right here. Cut on that fat line. We're just cutting the skin. Notice I didn't cut any meat, just the skin. Reach under the thighs and pop the joints out. This is the ball joint at the top of the thigh. Flip the chicken over. There's a line between the white and dark meat on the back, and we're just going to follow that line. Let's repeat that on the other side as well. To break the thigh from the leg, follow the fat line. Make your cut on the drum side of the fat line. To separate the backbone from the breast, switch to your kitchen scissors. Again, follow the fat line. I'm going to cut right along the line and through the ribs, then break it off. The backbone will go in my stock pot. To separate the breast in two, make a tiny cut right here. Then flip the breast over, and with both hands, push down and crack the bone. Now, in Haiti, we fry chicken differently, but I love making southern fried chicken. It just makes me happy. Now, after many tests and trials, I've learned that there are 3 steps to juicy, delicious pan frying chicken: brining, dry rubbing, and marinating in buttermilk in Texas Pete hot sauce. If I'm pan frying chicken on a Sunday, I start meal prepping on a Thursday. Now, here are the steps. A brine is a combination of water and kosher salt. It keeps the bird juicy, moist, and adds flavor. For the brine solution, we have here 2 tablespoons of kosher salt and 6 cups of water. After the salt is dissolved, I will add 4 wings to the solution. Now, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm using chicken wings, but you can use any part of the bird that you wish. Now, be very careful with the salt. For every 2 pounds of meat, this is the brining ratio: 6 cups of water with 2 tablespoons of kosher salt. We will let this sit overnight and drain it before we add the dry rub tomorrow. A dry rub is a mixture of dried herbs and spices that are rubbed onto food to add flavor. This is our mise en place for the dry rub: a 1/4 teaspoon of celery seeds already grounded in my pilon épice, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of dry thyme, 1/2 teaspoon of dried basil, a 1/4 teaspoon of oregano, 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, and a 1/4 teaspoon of adobo seasoning. Now, I do the dry rub separately because when we mix the seasoning and the buttermilk at the same time, the seasoning floats onto the milk rather than latch on the chicken. So we're going to let this chill for 24 hours, then add the milk and the hot sauce tomorrow. Let's get excited. Buttermilk is what's left over after heavy cream has been churned. The 2 final products are butter and buttermilk. Buttermilk is slightly acidic and its enzymes break down the protein muscles in chicken, resulting in tender and flavorful fried chicken. This is why Southerners soak chicken in buttermilk. Let's go. This is our mise en place for the marinade: 2 cups of buttermilk, 2 tablespoons of Texas Pete, and 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. And I promise you, the Texas Pete will not make the wings spicy. It's just adding more flavor. Frying chicken is fun, especially on a Sunday afternoon, so let's make sure it tastes amazing. We're going to chill this for about 12 to 24 hours. Here are the tools you will need: a cooling rack and a sheet pan to drip excess oil, a fine mesh ladle, a cast iron skillet because you need a heavy bottom when you pan fry. Now remember to watch my nutrition segment where I will talk about the important relationship between iron, which is a mineral we store in our liver, and the use of the cast iron skillet. Next, you'll need a candy thermometer to watch and control the temperature of the oil. You need a food thermometer and a colander to drain the chicken before refry. For the breading, we'll need 1 cup of all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of paprika, a little salt and pepper, a brown paper bag, and 3 cups of peanut oil. Now, if you're allergic to peanuts or any kind of nut, I recommend you use a vegetable oil. The flour and seasonings will go in the bag and just shake it up. Let's heat up the oil. Our target temperature is 325. Now, once the chicken goes in the oil, because it's cold meat, the temperature will drop to about 300, which is what we want. A candy thermometer puts you in control, not the oil, not the chicken. After draining and flouring the chicken, we're going to let it rest for about 10 minutes to give the flour time to stick on to the meat. I like finishing my chicken in the oven, so after browning, we will place them in the oven for 15 minutes at 325 degrees. And the internal temperature for chicken is always 165. Remember the bacteria salmonella we talked about earlier. We want to make sure it's dead. While the chicken is in the oven, let's fry some plantains Haitian style. One of my dearly beloved sisters asked me for a tutorial, so today I am killing 2 birds with 1 stone with this oil. I brought the temperature of the oil down to about 280 to make sure we don't cook our plantains too fast. Now, in Haiti, we call fried plantains banan pesé, which means pressed bananas. This little tool is called a tostonera. If you don't have one, you can get it from either Amazon or Target.com. Meanwhile, use the bottom of a small bowl. Now, other Caribbean islands fry plantains their way. This is how we do it in Haiti. We fry them twice. A good banana for frying should be ripe but firm. I like them slightly sweet. This one will yield about 8 pieces. I'm only going to cook half, and the other half I will boil for breakfast. And it's super easy to peel. We're going to cut them at an angle. Our oil has cooled down to about 280, and here we go. And the color we're going for is golden brown, and they don't take too long. Let's take them out of the oil, rest them on paper towel, and start pressing. This is what separates Haitian pressed bananas from the rest. We soak them in a little water and some salt before the second frying. This makes them a little crunchy.